I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Okay. Hello. Welcome. Stand by 1 second. Give me 1 second. Don't know what more could be done. Okay, well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I very, very much considered, like just about 10 minutes ago, just saying screw it and not doing it because things have. I'm feeling better, kinda, not really. I don't have a fever, and I'm being able to move without having like horrible stomach pains, like major gastrointestinal, like feeling like everything's shifting inside your body from one area to the next, and it feels like you've either it's got to come out one end or the other, that kind of thing. I've been feeling like that since Tuesday evening into Wednesday, Thursday, and I started turning the corner about 4 a.m. this morning. I woke up and I thought, man, I'm feeling okay. I think today is going to be an okay day. I think it's going to be okay. And it's just been kind of one chaotic thing after another. And then I went to the Muncie City Council Finance Committee meeting today, and that meeting started at 6 p.m. It was supposed to start at 6 p.m., and I was going to live stream the meeting, and I took my new little laptop here in front of me, and I was going to live stream it from there, jumping their feed. And I was going in a few minutes late. I thought it didn't matter because I was going to be listening to it on the YouTube, and I noticed it was like 6:01, 6:02. It's like 6:03. It's like getting to be like 10 after 6, and I'm pulling in the drive at City Hall, the parking lot, and it's still not on. And I text a couple of the council members as I'm walking in, and I'm like, yo, what's up? Why is the feed not up? Nobody responds. So I text the communications director for the City of Muncie, and I said, why are we not live streaming? I said, I'm walking in. I can tell they're here. I can hear them. Why is the live feed for the City of Muncie not live streaming. And the response I got back was, Mark didn't show up. Mark didn't show up and I'm out of state. That was the response. Now, look, I didn't go any deeper at that point because I was instantly in a bad mood, because out of the 3 finance committee meetings where they're going to be going through departments, of those 3, this meeting was the most important because it talked about the mayor's budget. It talked about the Board of Works budget. It talked about the Channel 60 budget, which is the communications director. It talked about the controller's budget, if I didn't mention that. And it was talking about the fire department budget. And so, listen, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why the communications director is out of the city. I don't know why they're out of the state. Any employee, every employee deserves a vacation. And when vacations are set, whenever they're set early in the year, whenever, you never know when these things are going to happen. And it's any one given person shouldn't be there. The person responsible for the live streaming is Mark Slusher and Endpoint Creative. But this is a common theme that happens. And I got in trouble from someone else for saying that because my post I made, well, let's back up. Let's back up. I got to slow down because I'm in a bad mood and I'm just trying to hurry this. And I still want to just almost say screw it and just hang up. So back up. First of all, welcome. This is the Political Spotlight. This is episode 517. It's Friday. We're normally not here on Fridays, but we've been absent almost all week, which I think I can honestly say this is probably the longest period of absence since we've been doing the spotlight that we've had. Kate's been under the weather. I've been under the weather, and I almost just let it ride till the weekend. But I thought it was important enough to come on and talk to you guys tonight. We will not be live tomorrow. We'll go ahead and take another day tomorrow, and then we'll be back Sunday and hopefully be ready to rock through Sunday. But I wanted to come on tonight and talk to you about a couple of things. So this is episode 517. This is the Political Spotlight. Some of you probably saw the thumbnail for what I changed it to, which looked like the city council with an X through it. Some of you might have got the other thumbnail. So I created 4 live streams for the finance committees, live on location. It's City of Muncie, City Council meeting, Finance Committee, meeting 1, meeting 2, meeting 3, meeting 4. And when I got there and I realized they weren't live streaming, I started to delete that. But instead I thought, well, I won't delete it. I'll just use that link for my live tonight. And when I went in and I changed everything, I changed the thumbnail and all of that. This is just inside baseball. It's explaining some things to you here real quick. I changed the thumbnail, but sometimes it doesn't update enough. So that's why it looks wonky. I apologize. I can't do anything about it. That's one of the things that put me in a bad mood. When I realized that, I was just like, see, I should have just said, shit, screw it. So it is what it is. I hope you're here. If you're not, you'll come back and see it. If not, we'll see you Sunday. I don't know what else to say. You're either here or you're not. Okay. So like the show. This is probably not going to be one of the better shows, but if you're here and you're cool, like us. If not, whatever. So when I realized that the City of Muncie was not going to be live streaming this meeting, I had text a couple council members, and I had text the communications director and a couple of other folks. And I'm like, what's going on here? Like, this is a really big, important meeting that needs to be live streamed. The public needs to be aware of it. So I made a post that said, so the Muncie City Council's second Finance Committee meeting started at 6 p.m., yet there was no feed. I reached out to contacts at City Hall, and I was told that Mark Slusher, Endpoint Creative, didn't show up. Mark's company is contracted to live stream all of the city meetings for the City of Muncie Communications Department. Okay? That's his job. That's what he's paid a good amount of money for. He gets paid a lot of money from the City of Muncie to do this. Now, I don't know anything about his business. I don't know if he has employees that work under him. I don't know if he has interns that work under him. I don't know if it's just him. But I also don't care. I don't care if it's him. I don't care if he's running his ass off. I don't care if he's tired. If he's getting paid to do it, like, I understand accidents happen, things come up, shit happens, but not all of the time. I said tonight's agenda for the Finance Committee was important. It was definitely an important one. The departments presenting their 2026 budget tonight were, need to go in there and fix that, were the mayor's office, the Board of Works, the controller's office, the personnel department, and the fire department. Now, under the controller's office, they also took care of a couple of other areas, like the Channel 60, which is the communications director, and a couple of other things. And so it was very, very, very important. But however, because Mark didn't show up, there's no live stream. This is something that happens repeatedly. For example, if there is a meeting where something might be a little touchy, it always seems like magically that's a meeting that for one bullshit reason or another doesn't get recorded. Yeah, it's kind of like the mic drop on the City Hall steps. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. It's like that it's like that scene in Forrest Gump when Forrest Gump stands up at the reflection pond and is talking at the Vietnam War thing, and they're like, what do you got to say? And he stands up and somebody trips over, unplugs the thing, and he's up there going on, and they plug him back in just in time for him to say, that's all I got to say about that. And the guy's like, beautiful, man, just beautiful. That's kind of like what it is, right? It happens like whatever. Well, so let me tell you, while we were in, so I'm not feeling well. I probably shouldn't have been there. And the reason I went ahead and went in was because I found out that it wasn't live streaming. Had they started live streaming, I probably would have just went on home and we could have just live streamed it because they weren't taking questions. But I went in because I was like, well, damn it. I at least need to hear the mayors and the controllers. That's what I wanted to hear. Wanted to hear the fire departments, but I at least wanted to hear the mayors and the controllers. Halfway through, I found out that the Lacey, the clerk's office employee, who is the quote-unquote council secretary, did come up with a plan B, and she did record the meeting apparently with her laptop. Now, recording it with her laptop, they've done that before. The audio is not very good, and it's very hard to hear, but they do have it, and they can upload it later. And apparently, after I had posted my commentary griping, the City of Muncie Communications Department had posted something stating that the meeting would be posted later. So I can say, yay, good, I guess. But I'm going to tell you, number one, it's not good because, like, I'll listen to it. And I'm sure there are a couple of you that'll listen to it. But the majority of the amount of people that would have watched it live on YouTube or would watch it, whatever, will. And the people who don't care as much, they won't go back and re-listen to it. They're not going to fight audio issues to try to hear it. So it is what it is. And I don't have the comments pulled up, but I know that Kate's putting them up. And I know that Charlize said that Mark has had some health issues, and I definitely understand that. And listen, Mark and I have had a weird history. I don't have an issue with Mark. I don't have a problem wrong with him in the world. Not one issue with him. I know way back when, back in 2019, when Nora and I were battling each other back then, I know that Mark decided to take her side or whatever for whatever reason that was. And I know that when that happened, he had some, I guess, issues with me. Now, that was never a problem with me. I mean, I was like, okay, he took her side, whatever, no big deal. But we've always gotten along, and I don't have an issue. And if he's got health issues, I hate that. I hate that for him, and I completely get it. But health issues or not, like Charlize said, there's got to be a plan B. But the biggest issue that I see there is this is definitely something that has continued happening. Like, this happens and happens and happens. And he runs a business. He runs a business where he's getting paid. His business is getting paid good money. And so, I know how it was when my dad was sick, and my dad owned a business, and, he made sure things still got done. And so, I don't know what's going on with Mark. My thoughts and my prayers are with him. I hope everything's okay. This is something that the City of Muncie needs to look into. At the end of the day, absolutely. And I know, I'm happy that people recognize that. There's no reason. I would say, number one, Amber needs to know how to live stream and needs to be part of that. But if she's out or on vacation, we need to have another person that's there. And then if that person's out, I mean, we need to have a backup to the backup to the backup. So it's uncalled for. It's ridiculous. And let me tell you, like, out of the three, there are 4 finance committee meetings that are scheduled. There are 3 where they actually are going to be talking to department heads, and 1 where they're going to just be talking about the budget overall. So the 3 meetings are the most important of the 4. The first 3 are the most important. And of those 3, this one was the most important. And there's going to be so much that's lost in the way that if the recording that they did, if it comes out good, if they ever even get it uploaded or not, who knows? You know what I mean? We'll just have to wait and see. So I'll be honest, I was there, but I was not in my best place. I was more kind of steaming because of what was going on. I will tell you that when I walked in, they were dealing with the city clerk's office, and it seemed as if there was. I walked in halfway into the clerk's office deal, but it seemed as if, from what I heard, that there was something that happened where the clerk's budget didn't get presented to the council, and so the clerk was trying to do this. And again, we'll have to go back to if it would be nice to have this on live streaming. Hopefully there'll be a recording of this. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I don't know. It would be good to go back, because it seemed like it was something like they were really sticking it to the mayor for what wasn't happening. Let's see here. I want to see a couple of these things. I was looking at what Kate said. They could use StreamYard as a backup. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different things that they could use that would make it so much easier. I just cannot. I can't even begin to understand what they're doing. Sorry, I just pulled the comments up. So the finance committee is made of all 9 council members, and there were 8 council members there. Jerry Dishman was not there. So 8 of the 9 were there. Nora is the one that's leading the meeting. She's the finance chair. And she was on one. She was absolutely on a tear. And like, I understand why she is. I understand the reason why she's being like she's being, because it gets it's like so tiring dealing with these people. I guess this is one good reason why it wasn't live streamed. Like, and it'll be interesting to see how this comes out in the recording. But I almost wish that she would back off just a hair, because what it's gonna start to come off as is it's gonna start to look like she's just slamming, because a couple of the times when she would come at them really hard, they had like a legitimate, real good reason for why X, Y, or Z happened. And so then she would be like, oh, well, okay. And so here, let me give you an example. I'm going to give you a for example. The personnel director got up at one point when the personnel director was giving her part of her budget. And let me be very clear. I don't like the personnel director. I do not like her at all. I think she's third-rate Miss Frizzle from the Magic School Bus. I do not like her. And yeah. And I think she's a nut. I'm not a big fan of hers. But she got up, and they had like 2 or 3 questions into her. And Nora asked her another question. And at one point, the HR director said, as a joke, well, I don't know. She was flipping the page, and she needed to flip several pages to get to where she needed to be. And she was like, well, I don't know, Miss Powell. You just put me on the spot up here. clearly said as a joke. Like, everybody knew it was a joke. It was said as a joke. And Nora's response was, no, ma'am, I simply just asked you to come up here prepared and ready to give me answers I ask questions to. And it's like, I mean, yeah, right, I get it. But it just, like, because here's what happened. Then the HR director's like, comes off like shocked, and she's like, oh, she was like, I was just joking. I'm so sorry. And it makes her sympathetic, and it made, like, in that moment, it made Nora look bad. And it's just like, pull back. Like, look, go after Dan hard. I'm cool with that. Go after Craig hard. I'm okay with that. Go after the police chiefs and the fire chief. Like, I'm not a big fan of the other dingbats that get up there, whatever, one way or another. But it just, that kind of thing, it just didn't play well. Like, even, listen, and I'm on Nora's side. I hate saying that. I've said that for 2 years now. I hate that they're making me in a position where I'm agreeing with Nora more than I'm not. And it sucks, but it is what it is. So I just wish Nora would. There were a couple of times that, like, I'm in such a weird state because I'm kind of sick still, where, like, I kind of thought, oh, do I have this on, like, sped up version? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I'm not watching this on YouTube. I'm in real life, because Nora was just so pop, just firing it off. It was almost like she couldn't get out of her own way to get a next question in. So one thing I can tell you is, there is something very strange going on, and it was mentioned multiple times, where the city hall is paying people more than what was budgeted for them, or there were several questions. Is this inside the salary ordinance? Are you paying these people? What is this? You're giving them a raise, which makes it look like you're paying them more than what we budgeted last year for this current year. And there were several times, specifically, when the controller would have to say, what's the controller like to say? I don't know. I'll get back to you on that. Now, what bothers me is, and Nora even mentioned this a couple of times, well, be sure to email all of us so we all have the answers on this. I don't want it to be in an email. I want it to be at the next hearing, at the next budget meeting next Tuesday. I want his ass to come back up to the podium and to follow up on the record, not in some emails that I've got to go digging for and got to wait 2 weeks to get. I want the answers for that before they vote again. So I'm one step ahead of you. I was already filling that out. That's why we were just a couple minutes late coming on, because I was already in the process of filling that out. And I'm going to do it twofold. I'm going to send it to the city. I'm going to send it to the city for Craig Wright. And I'm also going to send it to the city council attorney, because I know if I send it to Dan Gibson, I'll get it as soon as the council gets it. So and I'm also going to tell a couple of the counselors that I wanted as well. So hopefully whenever he responds, we will get that. But I'm telling you, there are a couple of things where Dan and the controllers are playing fast and loose with the law and the money. There are things that they have budgeted. There were several points tonight where Nora had asked them, how have you guys amended the budget that we budgeted without coming before the council? How have you done this? And they simply didn't have an answer for that. They couldn't answer that. There was one line item for one employee in the personnel office who's actually getting paid under the amount that's been budgeted, which is also a problem. And they asked, to their credit, Nora asked, why is this? And to that one, they actually gave a good answer. To that one, they actually gave a good answer. The personnel lady said, well, the person who was in that position when the ordinance, the salary ordinance was created, had been here for 20 years. And that person's no longer there. We now have a new person there. And so we didn't feel like we should pay that person the top of the salary ordinances is like a scale, a bottom and a top. So they're paying that person like at the bottom of the salary ordinance. And they said, like, after 90 days, or when that person is, good to be on their own or whatever, they'll bump that person up. And I was like, okay, that's a decent answer. And so they did say that. Unfortunately, my stomach is still kind of tore up, and I was not able to stay for the fire department. So I am very upset about this, because like the police department, the fire department, it has a major, big budget. So my hope and my prayers are that we will get a good audio recording. And as soon as we get that, I'll be able to listen to it. For those of you that wonder, when we get the audio up, if we get the audio up, I will record it. I will put it out just so we can have all of them. So you guys can watch it. We'll go through it if you want. We can do that. But I will have that. But, the whole point of doing tonight's show was, number one, to just not be gone all week, because I think we did Tuesday. I think we did Tuesday night. I think we were off Sunday, or we did Sunday. We were off Monday. We did Tuesday, and then we've been off since. And I just wanted to come on and tell you, we are not dead. We're not going anywhere. We are still going to be here. We're not going anywhere. There's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of things that I'm working on. There's a lot of stuff going on with the county budgets. The county budget is still going. There's a lot of stuff going on with Delaware County budgets, a lot of things going on there. There are a lot of things going on with this city budget. What I cannot wait to do is I cannot wait to go into Monday's council meeting. There's a council meeting coming up this coming Monday. Nora, oh my God, punch me. Kate said the answer is that Dan, the finance guru, said that it was okay on paying the people whatever and doing the things, the amendments, without coming to council. That's exactly right. And that's more or less the answer they gave. Dan stood up during his time when the mayor was up there, and he was like, well, the executive can do this and this and this and this. And it's like, okay. But the bottom line is, for all of these things where these people are getting, and they ask that for the communications director. The communications director raise is like, I think Nora said like 13%, which is way above where it was. And they've always got these really weird, convoluted reasons for why this is, and nothing more is ever said about that. So I hope there will be this point where all of this stuff is cleaned up at some point, where all these questions will either get their answers, or the monies will be changed. Because from what I heard tonight during the controller's budget, the council made their first reduction. So it sounds like the council has not made any reductions until tonight. They made their first reduction. And I don't know if you remember when we were going over the budget, when we went over the budget the other day, and we were specifically looking at the controller's line items. And I said, well, that's funky. Why does the controller have $53,000 in overtime? There's no reason. There is absolutely no reason why the controller should have $53,000 in overtime. Well, I was right. And the council questioned that as well. And the council was right. That was an error. Now, they didn't rectify what that was. They didn't say what it was, but I think it was whatever. I think they were leaving it whatever it was. So there are a lot of things going on that I'm worried about. There are a lot of questions to specific line items that I've not heard there be any reductions on. I am afraid that this was the very first line item that they've made a reduction in. And if that's the case, that's strange to me. So I'm going to get to the bottom of that. And number two, the next most important thing that people need to remember is Monday is a Muncie City Council meeting. It starts at 6:45 p.m. It doesn't start at 7. The public hearing starts at 6:45 p.m. You can go and you can speak on the record to the council about the budget. It's only about the budget during the public hearing. And you can speak, but they will not give you any answers. Then whenever that period of if there's 30 people there to speak, or if there's one person there to speak, whenever that's over, the meeting will then start. I'm certain there won't be many people there to speak, so I'm sure the meeting will start about 7 o'clock. The meeting will then go through its random course. And then when they bring up ordinance 30-25, then the public can get up and speak again. And then at that time, the council can answer questions. Now, I will tell you, tonight, they talked about the deputy controller and they talked about the communications director. And Nora asked Craig, so wait a minute. We unfunded the communications director last year, and you decided to pay them out of edit. You're now wanting them to be in the general fund again, correct? And when Nora said that, Craig said, yes, we want them to be in the general fund. Brandon Garrett shook his head, yes. Like he was basically saying yes. Like he agreed. We want them to be. Now keep in mind, Brandon Garrett was one of the people that voted no last year. So nothing else was said about that. Keep in mind, Jerry was gone tonight. So then when they came to the deputy controller, she asked the same thing about the deputy controller, and he answered the same way. So that's one of the things that I'm going to definitely ask on Monday. And I can tell you, God willing, I mean, come hell or high water, it'll have to be something major, drastically bad that would keep me from being there. Even what I've had last 2 days wouldn't have kept me out of Monday's meeting, just to go in and ask the damn question, because it has to be asked why these people are okay in voting for this exact same thing that exactly 365 days ago they voted differently on. And I want to know what has changed. So the city has to cut 1.5 million, but they want more stuff. Yeah, right. I don't know. That's very, very very crazy to me. I have no idea how they're rectifying that, Kate. That's very, very strange. It does not make sense. Now, what Charlize is talking about with the fire station, that's the other big thing. That's going to be on the agenda, the resolution for this on Monday. And I went over this and I went over it and went over it on Tuesday. It starts in episode 516. It starts at 26:55. If you have not listened to my analysis on this, go back to episode 516 and listen to it. It starts right at the beginning, about 26 minutes in. If you go to 516 and jump to 26 minutes, you'll be able to find it. And we will talk about this Sunday night more. We will talk about it more in depth Sunday night. And we will get there. I want to go back up here really quickly. Clint said, let's talk about the reservoir. If there's nothing else to talk about, bunch of issues there, especially with the end of season. I am going to, number one, I'm going to sit down and talk to the horse people. I've talked to them a couple times. I'm going to actually have them come on and talk. And I'm working on trying to do a big special thing to kind of wrap up what's happened there, what's going on, and all of the changes and everything that's occurring out there. I want to give that the time that it deserves because it's a big issue. And they've always said in Muncie, anybody that does anything with Prairie Creek would be an absolute political suicide. And it seems as if this is getting played off on, well, this is just the water companies. It's their fault. There's some blame to go around that doesn't just land on a water company. There is some blame that their city officials should have, and there's a lot of talking that needs to be done about the reservoir, and I want to be able to give it its time and give it a proper show. We've done a couple shows about the reservoir, like full shows, but I would like to, I don't want to just haphazardly throw it out there on a Friday when most people didn't even know I would be on, and I'm kind of under the weather still as it is. But we are going to do a big show. I will shoot you a link when we're going to do it. I'll try to do it here soon, and within the next week or so. I'll talk with the horse people to see about when we can get them on, and we will definitely get that going. Right now, we're kind of in a big thing with the budget, which is getting ready to wrap up here directly. But what was the last thing that was important that I wanted to say that happened? Oh, and it might be nothing, and maybe it's just me being nosy, me being weird, and maybe people should say, maybe people would say you should just mind your own business. It seemed as if when the city clerk was up, she was kind of taking some shots at the mayor, and she would look back at the mayor every now and then. At one point, the council asked her about a figure, and she was like, no, that wasn't right. And she said, oh, I'm sure that was just a typo. And she looked back and looked at them and like just made a face. Well, when she got done presenting her budget to the council, she went back to her seat. She sat in her seat for a little bit. She got up and she went back to her office. When she got done in her office, she then came back through and sat down in the seat again for a few minutes. Then she got up and she left. And when she left, she walked out and she walked back in and she handed Dan a note. And she like handed it, put it in his lap, and like walked out. Now, maybe I'm being weird, but I'm telling you, reading that body language, it was like something that somebody would do if like they were going to leave, like leaving you a nasty gram. And so I have half a mind to file a record request for that sheet of paper, because I would really like to know what she wrote him and put him in his seat there, because after she handed it to him and after she walked out, when he picked it up and looked at it, he didn't look too happy either. And I'm telling you 100%, he was not happy with her performance in front of the council. He was not happy with that at all. So the main takeaway from all of this sloppiness, and I apologize again, this is I'm definitely firing at about 50%. The takeaway here is, with all of the craziness going on with Senate Bill 1 and all the boo-hooing that Dan's been doing and all of the weirdness that he's been, doing this press conference out on the steps of City Hall and talking to all of the indie media and talking about he's going to do this and putting a hiring freeze in and this and that. And we're going to take full-time employees to part-time, and we're going to take these people's benefits away from them and give them to these people and do this and that. There's a whole lot of weirdness going on besides what just normally is at play. There's a lot of weirdness going on that I just never heard the council ask when doing the budget before. Even when it's been the council approaching Dan, like it seems like they're getting more and more brazen with just doing whatever the hell they want and thinking, oh, nobody's going to ask. I'm going to tell you, there's one point tonight when it was as I was walking out, I heard Nora say this. Nora was talking to the firemen, and Nora said, so you've got all the firemen in one line item, right? Remember, if you watched the budget, my budget run through, when I went through the budget line item by line item, do you remember how the police chiefs are all in one line item? Like all three of them are just in one line item. They don't have their separate line items. And then the two fire chiefs are all in one line item. And then the lieutenants and the battalion chiefs and all of those people are in one. And then all the firemen are in one line item. Well, the problem with that is, in my opinion, like they say, you might have one fireman in that line item who's been a fireman for 25 years. And you might have another fireman that's been there for a year. So they're getting paid differently within that same line item. And one of the things I heard her say is, so you just did 4% across the board in there, right? And they're like, uh-huh. And she's like, okay, we're just going to take your word for it. And I'm like, oh, but no, that's a bad precedent to set with the Ridenhour administration. Saying, we're just going to take your word for it. Like, I get it, right? I mean, I get that they're not, I guess, going to go through all 110 firemen. But then again, why? Why don't they? You know, it might make the fire and the police budget process longer than any others. It might mean you got to be here for 3 hours on one meeting, or 3 hours for the police and 3 hours for the firemen. But I'm okay with that. Like, I don't want to take their word for any of it. I want them to go line by line, person by person. Oh yeah, Charlize, don't even get me started, because that's one of the things that Nora brought up was in this year, these people have been being paid out of edit. However, their benefits, their perf and all of this other stuff have been being paid out of just regular whatever. They're like, how have you been doing that? And the controller said, well, we added that to those accounts by edit. And she's like, well, so you made these appropriations, you sent money, like, there's just so much going on that it's the right now approach is, just do it and ask for forgiveness later. And that, in my opinion, is the problem. That approach is so anti everything that he ran on. And these people have such a problem with Dennis Tyler. It's the same damn thing, in my opinion. The whole just do it and ask for forgiveness later. That mentality. I don't know. So that's what's going on. I'm gonna think about more of this and try to write something out, make a post. I took a couple of pictures. I know that hello, Jeremy. I know that Rick Ginster was there. I'm sure he'll write something up. He took a couple different pictures when the controllers were up and when the fireman was up and when the mayor was up. So he got a couple good pictures, and he got a couple. I know he'll have some thoughts about it. It's just so strange. And somebody asked me, a couple different people today have asked me. Well, my grandpa asked, and then a couple of other people have actually asked me if in this budget process, if Dustin, if his whatever, if Dustin would be dealt with in the budget process. And I said no, because he's a contract employee. He's a contract employee, so nope, it's a done deal. Yeah, Shirley said today, I've said 50 times this week, the financial dots don't connect. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like Nora has done the budget stuff so long, and that's that, to her credit, she understands that, and that's something she's good at. But it's also kind of detrimental, because it causes her to say, well, I know what that looks like. That's good. We can go on. I almost feel like they ought to go line by line, person by person, each and every, like, so what? The only thing that would do is it would make them have to work a little hard. Look at the county. Look at the county. The county started budget hearings at 8:30 Wednesday morning, and they were still in their budget meeting at 9 p.m. Wednesday night. That's over 12 hours on Wednesday. Then they were there about another 10 or 12 hours on Thursday, and they're there today. They were there this evening, this afternoon. So if the city council had to do, 8 finance committee meetings instead of 4, it wouldn't be the end of the world. You just have to work a little bit more for that 15 grand that you're making a year, council. And if you're getting paid $15,000 a year and you don't even know how to answer emails, or you don't know how to tell people, hey, my emails aren't working, get it figured out. I'm getting paid $15,000 a year to represent citizens that can't reach out to me. Stumblefoot. So, coming up, we'll also be talking about what's going on in the county. I think it's interesting that I think that there are some people that used to be allies or allied, at least aligned maybe in the county, that aren't as aligned anymore. And they like take shots at each other. We'll be looking at that. There's some stuff going on in the county. Budget-wise, we'll be doing that at the first of next week. Yeah, I'll take a look at that, Tweety Bird. I will take a look at that. Man, there was one last thing I was going to tell you. About the city. Fire. We talked about fire. We talked about the budget. The council meeting Monday. That's going to be big. And then there's another finance committee meeting on Tuesday. And then we're done until the 23rd. That's all I can think of. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for this show. Sorry, like I said, it's been a little bit discombobulated, but I wanted to definitely give you some information. As soon as the city has it up and running, I will get it out there and let you guys hear it, let you guys have it. We'll go through everything, and we will get rested up, and we'll be back at it and ready to rock and roll, good as new, God willing, on Sunday. You guys take care. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Take care of yourselves. Have a great Saturday. And we will see you Sunday back here with episode 518. And hopefully everything will be running smooth. And you guys, man, stay away from whatever this is. I guess it's going around, so if you got to get it, you got to get it, but try to avoid it. You guys take care. Hey, if you haven't already, smash that like button on the way out, and we will see you Sunday evening. God bless. Goodbye.